Hi. Hi. Okay. Signaling, critical. Communications, shofars, whistles, emergency and otherwise. So I got like I was last night. Geez, was that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away or what? Okay. Yeah, okay. Should be both recording with Mike. Part 5, 75, part 5. Gotcha? You got it. You got that? All right. Shape up. Mark was again slightly perturbed that he had to wait, but what else could he do? Early the next morning, Mark got to visit with Mike. Hey, bro, Mark greeted his brother. You had all of us scared for a while. Well, you know me, Mike answered. I always like to be the center of attention. I heard you upstaged me, though. What do you mean? Dad told me about you standing in the middle of the road and shooting biker after biker so they couldn't get in. Mark groaned. Look, I just did what I had to, that's all, he said defensively. You don't have to get all huffy about it. I just wanted to tell you what a good job you did. Well, if I'd done a better job, you wouldn't be lying here. I'm sorry I sent you out there. I appreciate that, bro. I really do. But it was my own stupidity that got me shot, not anything you did. Now, if you don't mind, let's change the subject. The two brothers chatted for another 15 or 20 minutes until Mike announced that he was tired and needed a rest. Mark went back home and spent the rest of the day with his children. The next morning, he returned to the ranch and the mind-numbing work. Mark found out Chaparro hadn't been home in over a week. He sent the foreman for his monumental task home. He sent the foreman for this monumental task home that night and told him not to come back for 2 days. Chaparro protested, but he filled Mark in on what needed to be done and went home with a smile. Mark noticed that even though the work was very hard, everyone worked tirelessly. He knew why the prisoners were working so hard, but he wondered why the Silver Hills residents were busting their humps day in and day out. As he checked on the workers to make sure they were staying hydrated, as Chaparro had told him to do, he realized that most all of the volunteers were people who had moved in with family or friends and didn't have a place of their own. They were all probably hoping that one of the cabins would be theirs. Mark hadn't even considered how they'd have to find a fair way to divvy up the additional housing. There were sure to be more families who didn't have a place of their own than there were cabins. Just what we need, he thought, another problem to solve. He was confident, though, that they would find an equitable solution. The days passed quickly, and on the third morning, Chaparro returned to find that everything had progressed in his absence. Mark was glad to have the big man back in charge, and he enjoyed a day of work where he was responsible for no one but himself. Friday evening, he returned home to find the election committee had still not announced the outcome. They were being very tight-lipped about what was going on and would only say that they were doing a recount to make sure the results were accurate. Most everyone in the neighborhood took this to mean the voting had been very close. Some felt waiting for the outcome was worse than finding out the results, even if they weren't in Rob's favor. Mark couldn't help but be nervous, but he remained optimistic. Why shouldn't he be optimistic, he wondered. Things had worked out fairly well for them. Sure, they'd lost some good people, and some things hadn't gone their way, but compared to how things could be and how they were for many, Silver Hills was in great shape.